Sending data online. So everybody is online. YouTube, come on, YouTube. Let's go. Yeah, it's live now on YouTube. So whatever. Cool. I fixed it.
Well, there we go. We're live.
We're live on YouTube. So hopefully people come and see what the hell's actually going on.
Well, I don't know if they won't see anything. They'll hear it.
Well, yeah, they'll hear it. Because this is just a little Discord hangout we're having. C4 is in the live chat. What's up, C4? Yeah, we're just doing a little Discord conversation on my Discord server over at Prove It. The link is, again, that. If you want to join, hi, Cy James. Cy James is in the chat. And that's it so far. What's bool? What is it? Actually, it comes from the boolean, which is a variable that takes only two values, rather, true and false. So that's where my name comes from. But I hope some others show up in the actual chat. See if we get any introductions. We got an intro. Subscribe. Innovation. Subscribe start. Today at 4:44. Okay. That's not it. Al Rubel is in general. Should we pull him in with us?
Sure.
Or should we ask him first? Al Rubel to live stream. Hey Blue, how are you today? I haven't talked to you in a while. Long tone. Not sure what that means. Al Rubel is typing. Posting the stream URL with the announcement would have happened. What's happening? I am streaming. It doesn't matter, Tommy. That's the point. I'm on YouTube, Periscope, DLive. Yes, it has been a long time, Blue. It has. And Mixer. Hi, Bridget. How are you? Just a casual talk. If you actually want to talk with David McGinnis or Al, come to the... Well, I don't know how if he can hear me this at... Come to... Switch or VC to live dash stream. That way he'll know what's going on. Yeah, it's kind of boring unless more people join in. So please come to the server. There's Al. Is he server muted? No, he's just muted himself. So, how are you, Al?
I'm all right.
Good.
How you doing, man?
Yes, Tommy found the YouTube. Kristen, I'm not there in that circle. I am here. Okay. Kristen, you can come to my Discord server anytime you like. Otherwise, I'm keeping good. I had a little bit of an issue earlier, but it has been solved. So Thank you very much, Maya. Or Manya. Is it Manya?
Manya, I think.
Yeah, Manya. Thank you very much, Manya, for your generous donation and support. Oh, that circle is she's talking about the picture on screen. Okay, you want to talk about the picture on screen? We'll do that. The picture on screen is a picture taken with a Cassini probe from Saturn. That little dot in the center of that circle is Earth. And yes, you are there. Hello, Spooky Bed Hair, my friend from long time ago.
I am climbing up some monkey bars in virtual reality right now. It's really weird.
The ultimate evil is throwing Legos into someone's VR space. But yeah, I thought I would do this to see if we got some people in here. We need someone to start something of a conversation. Ask me questions. Talk about whatever. Every person whom has ever lived has been there. It is a beautiful concept. Yes. Even the people who've orbited the moon have ended up back there. So, yes, there's not a single body that isn't on that planet. So, this is impromptu. I know it's more of a test for Pimp Monk tomorrow, because Pimp Monk he's pissed at YouTube, and I can honestly say I understand it, because they actually suspended his channel for a week over a video he made 4 years ago. And the subject of said video was nothing controversial. It was advocating for child safety and child awareness. It was basically I forget the exact subject, but it was pro-child protections, basically. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Protections.
Was it anti-bullying?
I don't know if it was bullying or it had more to do with, like, these porn rings and Pizzagate or anything like that. I don't know exactly. Mm-hmm. But it's a stupid, like, it's stupid. Like, 4 years you wait to do anything about this video, and you're gonna sit there and not look at the content of the video. You're gonna just suspend it, because if you'd looked at the content of that video, you never would have been suspended. They really do. YouTube has a horrible algorithm. It really does. Yeah, exactly. Who does not want to protect children, Bridget? That's a good question. YouTube is going to find themselves without a lot of clients. What's with the new avatar? The new avatar, well, which one? Like, I've got my old one, which is the blue and black yin yang. The current new one is gold, and it's a yin yang, but it's gold and black, and one of the symbols, instead of a dot, is a heart, and the other one is a brain. And in my head, that just said, hey, think with your heart and your head. And don't be a dick, but at the same time, don't be stupid. So that's what's going on with the new avatar. The one you see on Discord is actually a GIF that's animated. It's similar to this GIF, which I'm showing on screen right now, except it is blue and purple. So yeah, I'm kind of switching it up, still keeping the yin yang theme, but I kind of, people were starting to change theirs a lot. I don't change mine very often. I don't know if Spooky remembers my first avatar I had on G+. which was a picture of me as a baby being fed by my aunt. And me as a baby, that's an old picture. And people were like, well, that's creepy. So then I put up Jennifer Lopez from The Cell. Not just Jennifer Lopez from The Cell in that outfit that Starger put her in when he took over. So, yeah. And then, of course, I went to the yin yang. Jen's little corner. Somebody, if you're on Discord, there's an invite. Destroying Angel. Why doesn't YouTube let you have an image? That's kind of a bizarre thing for them to do. They don't let you have an image at all. Yeah, Spooky remembers that. That's how long I've known Spooky. That's been almost 3 years now. Let's see. Last year was the Non Sequitur show. The year before that, I was in St. Peter. So it's been about 2 years. Oh, Jen's little corner is now on my server. So let's give her the roles and she can come in. You can now come into the show. Bridget is trying to come into Discord now. Jen's little corner, we are in the live stream room under the live stream category. And you have the role so you can come in and chat. Other people can talk too. It's not just me.
Okay.
I feel like I'm...
Do you, are you like a more non-fiction person or a fiction person?
Am I a non-fiction or a fiction person? Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm kind of both. Like, I like a really good fiction story that there's a lot of character development in. For instance, Robert Jordan comes to mind. The Wheel of Time series. If anybody's read that, it's an awesome series. Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff. But I also like reading, factual books. Like, mostly about programming, believe it or not. Because there's a lot of concepts you don't get with programming just intuitively. There's a lot of stuff that's just like, oh, you kind of have to see it from an outside perspective, even though I'm savant in that area. So anyway,
It's very true, programming bull. There's just some things if you try to teach yourself, you might get there, but your code is going to be atrocious.
well, particularly when it comes to like linked lists, I'd love to see someone. I actually tried this in high school. I was in Advanced Data Structures 2, which is where we talked about binary trees. Try to code a binary tree by yourself without recursion, and you will just literally go nuts.
Yeah, I designed this is back in the 8086 days.
Yep.
I designed a binary tree sort algorithm because we needed to sort several thousand items, and on 8086 it took a while.
Yeah, binary.
And in the end, my code ended up less efficient than a normal sort because I had no idea what I was doing at the time.
Yeah, a binary tree is not an easy thing to get your head around.
It's not, and half the time you're wasting steps.
Right, unless you go recursion. Now, once you get the recursion in there, it becomes a thing of beauty. And a lot of people nowadays, you bring up the word recursion, it's like a bad name. It's like, oh, that's a recipe for code leak or memory leaks.
Yeah, I'm old enough to have coded mine as OOP was just becoming a thing. So the concepts of recursion back then were an awful lot harder to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did
mean,
mine was in Pascal, Visual Pascal. If you remember, not Visual Pascal. Turbo Pascal was the compiler.
Yep, yeah. But I'm talking Turbo Pascal pre-U.
Ah.
So yeah. So I'm talking early Turbo Pascal, and then when OOP came in, we converted the tree coding across to OOP, and it was so much better because you could do proper recursion. You know, you could use the pointers properly.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about OOP is it can be basically a container for whatever data you want to put into it. So your data structure gets divorced from the tree structure because your record structure or whatever. You could even have a binary tree of objects as long as you key on something. So
yeah, which is exactly how I did it in the end.
Perfect.
I actually made each object part of the tree, and then you could just save off the data from that tree. Yeah. It was originally before we got Turbo Pascal 6, which it was the first one that had.
I think that's what we were using. That came out what 80s, 88, 89, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah, it came out when I was in high school.
That's when I was in high school too. So
yeah, I was in year 11 in 88. Year 11.
See, I graduated
somewhere around there.
I graduated in 91, so.
Oh, okay. No, hang on. So I'd have been I was in year 10 when I was in year 10 because I graduated. I'm trying to figure out when I graduated. No, I think I graduated in 90. I think it was class in 90. So I graduated a year before the. Yeah. So I remember when it came out, and I remember coding before it came out. So.
COBOL. So Spooky brought up COBOL. Which, for those who don't recall, COBOL stands for Common Business Oriented Language.
And it's line based.
It's line based, much like BASIC was back in the day, and it was the source of much of the Y2K consternation. So there was a resurgence in people that could program COBOL because they needed to go fix a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, even in the 90s when I was doing my degree, we were being taught COBOL because they knew the problem was coming out.
Oh yeah, they knew about the problem long before it started.
Oh yeah, and the biggest problem wasn't so much that this code problem was there in COBOL. There was nobody left who could program it. So they were having not enough people to solve the problem.
Right.
So they had to teach a new generation how to program it to fix the problem, which is dumb because what they should have done was changed all the software into more modern languages.
Yeah, I only ever
redone all the software, but yeah.
I only ever worked in a little bit of like ActionScript and Java and PHP.
Although evil language.
Yeah.
It is fucking evil. It's what actually made me hate coding.
I think Python's worse.
Oh no. PHP is glue. That's all it is.
Did you ever program in Forth?
No, I did not. I had heard there was a home computer sold. I forget if it was in Europe or the United States.
Yes, in Europe.
That had Forth and
brand new. You know what's really bad about that is I can picture what the computer looked like and I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, I have no idea. But reverse Polish notation is a pig. I mean, whoever thought putting the operators first and then the numbers is. Yeah. It just makes it so much harder. It's not intuitive at all.
No.
I mean, it's great for computers themselves, but it's not good for us.
Well, and keep in mind, like, before I even got into all that stuff in high school, all the higher level programming languages, I had actually learned BASIC. Of course, that's the first language everybody learned back then was BASIC. But
what was your first machine?
Okay, this is a little bit of a story behind that. So, my dad worked for Hewlett Packard, He used to
Oh,
bring
okay.
he used to bring home one of those Hewlett Packards that had the data cassette in it. Okay, a little one with a 5-inch screen,
Oh, yeah.
black and white. Did a little graphing. Had a IEEE 488 interface built into it, but it was
4-line LCD.
right. No, it was a CRT, but it.
Oh, it was a CRT. Okay, the CRT,
Right.
not the
I forget the model.
oversized calculators.
Yeah,
Okay.
I forget the model number, but it actually did BASIC and it had some graphing capabilities, so it piqued my interest. He also had a friend who worked with him at Hewlett Packard, who had an Apple II Plus. I think it was. I think it was the second generation Apple II, which is basically an Apple II fully loaded with memory, which back at the time, fully loaded meant 48K.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I really want my own computer. So my dad goes and buys a Timex Sinclair 1000, which in the UK would have been ZX81. Same thing. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it came with 2K of RAM, and it didn't work out of the box. It was like Sinclair was known for being cheap when they built their computers, and a lot
Oh,
of
they
them,
were very cheap.
yeah, which is
But they got computers to a lot of people because of it.
oh yes, definitely, and I'm not going to deny that. So my dad took it back, and he comes home with a TI 99 4A instead.
Oh, I always wanted one of them.
Well, from a game standpoint and like speech synthesizer was really cool. But from a programming standpoint, they went out of their way to isolate you from assembly. Like, it was really hard.
Really?
Yes. So then I got
So
a
they're going to be learning platform then.
yeah. Like, if you wanted to program machine code in assembly, you had to buy their assembler. There was no other way to get machine code into it. So I then got a Commodore 64, and once I got the 64 and started doing assembly on that, I was hooked on hardware.
I have 3 Commodore 64s, Paul.
Oh,
Still.
I have 0.
2 work, 1 I have to repair.
I've always wanted to go on
I have
eBay.
one 1541. I have a couple of 1541 2s, but they're at the point where I have to go through them and find the bits on each of them that work and try and make a working one out of them.
Got to recap it too.
Not that I use the 1541s anyway. I have an Amiga based 1541 simulator, and I can't remember what they're called, but I built it. So, because it's much easier to load software off an SD card than it is off a floppy disk, which half my floppy disks don't even work anyway. So, but yeah, I still have a 64. What I don't have is a CRT to use it with, which would look way better than using it on an LCD. And people in the chat are going to go, how can a CRT look better than LCD? If a machine was built with the CRT in mind, it looks better on a CRT.
Try looking at Apple II color, quote, and I use the term loosely, color graphics on a CRT versus try looking at them on LCD. LCD will not do anything for you. It'll look horrible.
Yeah, it will. And it's the same with the Commodore 64. You plug a 64 on an LCD, yeah, it works, but you don't get it. The machines were built to have color bleed, and you do not get color bleed on an LCD.
No, you don't. It's like it's too high of a resolution.
Yeah, the resolution's too high, so it downscales, and then your refresh rates are too high, so you don't get that lower refresh rate from a CRT. Actually had benefits in the lower graphics that you had on the older machines. So anyone who's into classic gaming at all, if you have a CRT, it is much better. If you say running a NES or a Master System, something like that, even a Mega Drive or Super Nintendo, you are better off playing those machines on a CRT if you can get one, because they will look better than they will on an LCD.
And if you get, as long as you get a good CRT, like a Sony Trinitron would be awesome.
Oh, it would be absolutely. It'd be the cat's nuts. It really would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem is that they're huge.
Yes,
They're huge and heavy.
I had a Sun Microsystems. I don't know if you remember this. The big, I think 30-inch or 20 some odd inch Sun Microsystems workstation monitor. But I had one of those that had 2 inputs. It had a regular VGA in, and then it had that funky Sun Microsystems plug that has the separate RGB coax connectors in it, and it was a beautiful monitor, and I'm very sorry that I lost it. But divorce can do that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a CRT that somebody offered me that it's only a telly, but I don't care at the moment, and I will pick that up at some point and use it. I just don't have anywhere to set the 64 up permanently with it.
Well, there's
at the moment, unfortunately.
There's a fellow who lives in Dallas, Texas, called the 8-Bit Guy.
Yes.
And he's taken old CRT televisions.
Yeah, you can convert them into monitors.
Yeah, you convert them into RGB monitors because you don't need the tuner. The tuner is absolutely useless.
This telly's actually got composite in, so it'll be fine. I can use it straight out of the thing as a monitor.
Composite is your friend.
It is. I don't think it has S-Vid, which would be nicer. But because you can get S-Vid out of the 64. But I love my 64. I, like you, learned all my program. Well, not all of it. I didn't learn my basic on a 64. I had a PB100. One of those Casio programming calculators. Technically my first computer. If you can call it a computer.
Remember the little Casio keyboards that were calculators? They were about maybe a foot long. I had one of those for a while, but it was incredible the noises this thing could produce. It had ADSR on it, so you could go in and set different numbers for the envelope and make all kinds of crazy noise with this little tiny thing that probably didn't even cost $30 in the 80s. So, yeah, I had fun with that.
Yeah, the 64 was great. Programming assembler, and I think that was the best thing about it because the basic was so crap.
Oh yeah, the basic was crap. If you want, like,
and I had a Simon's Basic cartridge, and I didn't like it because you gave up too much memory.
Yeah, like it was a trade-off. It was a trade-off. You either had the memory or you gave it up and got features.
Yeah. And those features just didn't give you enough benefit over going and programming your own code.
Right. So at that point,
so eventually you learned a bit with the cartridge, with the expanders like Simon's Basic or the Super Expander, Basic Super Expander, whatever it was. Or but in the end, you got assembly. You get yourself a fast load cartridge.
Yep. And you got an assembler, or you wrote.
And you got an assembler.
There was an assembler.
Or you broke your neck trying to program in a machine code monitor.
Or
I wrote a whole heap of interrupt-driven sprite routines in a machine code monitor. That was a nightmare. And then I used Super Assembler, I think it was.
Well, there was one that was like, it was a basic program. It actually was machine code, but it used a basic loader for from pokes and reads basically from a data statements. So the whole thing was a bunch of data statements in a magazine that you had to type in, but in the end, it was an assembler.
Yeah.
So once you've done it once, that was it. You were golden.
You saved it and you had it. Yeah. So yeah, I then eventually got into assembly. And then learn the wonders of Pascal.
Pascal.
I still love Pascal. To be honest, I will program. I like programming in C as well, but I still like Pascal.
My only problem with Pascal is the way it handles strings. I hated it. I absolutely hated the way it dealt with strings. That 255 character line limit.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Whereas C went to null terminated.
Hey,
strings.
that makes me wonder: is Twitter written in Pascal?
Twitter written in Pascal.
It makes sense.
It would, given... I think, actually, that limit comes from SMS, because it was piggybacking, for a while, on SMS messages, I think.
Ah. They need to, I don't know if they need to be longer, but there needs to be a better way to do multi-tweet.
Yes. Definitely.
So I don't mind it being a shorter thing, but if you need to add a second tweet, it should be an easier way to do it. Like when you first open a thread, it's easy. You can add another tweet that is directly part of that. But if you're replying to somebody, you can't do that easily.
Oh,
and they need that feature.
Somebody PM'd me on Twitter, and they wanted to know how to do Discord. That's the invite. You download the client and create an account.
Bet you weren't expecting to be talking about programming.
Oh, I don't. I want to talk about anything. If somebody comes in and asks me something about anything, I will do my best to answer it. There's a lot of stuff out there that I'm sure a lot of people would like to ask me, but just haven't.
And Kyle, the dumb fuck of the year.
Well, I have to kind of go with between Steve and Chesh on this one. I voted for both of them because I cannot make up my mind who's dumber, the guy who did that, or the woman who keeps riding the bus. You know, she makes a good point there. That's pretty freaking stupid. Anyway,
it's pretty sad when they're both going to beat out flat earthers.
Where's all the drama and poo talking, Spooky? That's a very good question.
We don't have to have drama. Look, if Spooky, go and check the fight that Chesh and I had the other day if you want some drama.
Aussie Baller. Bridget's here. Okay, Bridget, now that you're here on my server, if you look to the left, you'll see all the channels and so forth. If you look down towards the center, there's a live stream category, and under that there's the rules, the text chat, and under that is the voice channel. If you click the voice channel, you will join. Red Eye is frowning.
Why is Red Eye frowning?
Yeah.
I don't know.
McCormack has a point, but Bull, Kyle did actually mess you about personally. Katie did not.
Yeah. Katie didn't really mess with me personally. Kyle did. Kyle actually asked me to lie. Which, there was a tweet from Keon Ari on today, which I found utterly laughable. It was like, you've got to be kidding me. He says, Red's Rhetoric, myself, and Steve set Kyle up. I'm like, wait a minute. So the guy who took all the money from the channel, all the profit from the channel, and made off like fucking Bernie made off, was set up by the people who either barely made a dime or didn't make anything at all in the case of Steve McRae, and actually lost money on it because he actually paid me, and I thought he was paying me out of the channel funds, which he wasn't. He was paying me out of his pocket. And I never would have taken it had I known that at the time.
Unlike Steve, I can forgive people who defended Kyle at the beginning. If you knew Kyle and Kyle was the person you were most friendly with, I can understand that. I sat on the fence at the beginning because I really didn't know what was going on. Right?
Oh, I
So-
think that Steve has forgiven people who defended Kyle at the beginning.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't my point about Steve's forgiveness about stuff. My point was I can't imagine why people are still either sitting on the fence or defending him.
Oh yeah, but that's because they're idiots.
They must just have incredible hate bonus for Steve to be able to still want to be on Kyle's side.
So if you have just joined the server with the thought of joining the stream, we are hanging out in the live stream room, which is in the live stream section on the left-hand side in the Discord screen. Ilya Moon, Ozzy Baller, and Bridget, I have given you the roles, so you should join and be able to talk with us.
Yeah, it was on Twitter Spooky if you want to check it out. I overstated something which then Chesh took as personal. Well, not personal to her, but personal to Reds. Which, of course, she then called out to everybody, and everyone dogpiled on me without giving me a chance to actually explain what I meant.
Well, it's...
Which shit happens on Twitter because Twitter's like that. It is, you get 245 characters to explain yourself, and sometimes you fuck it up in that.
Yes, this is true. And to be fair, it's... Emotions are very high right now in a lot of...
Oh, they are.
Between a lot of people. Like, I have tried my damnedest to stay out of stuff. There's certain things that have happened recently that most people would agree. I kind of was brought into it, had to bring myself in it ethically. But by and large, I've kept silent on the whole situation past what I already did when I went on the shills initially, which was way back when this whole thing started almost. Okay, Bridget, if you're on the server, if you look at the left hand, are you on mobile? If you're on mobile, you have to click the hamburger menu up at the upper left hand corner, and that'll bring a list of channels. If you're on desktop, it should just be a list on the left-hand side with all these different channels like general, memes, music, video games and media, voice chat, etc. And if you scroll down that list, you will see us talking in live stream.
While we're talking about how dumb Twitter can be,
Yes.
what's the dumbest ban you've ever copped from Twitter?
I've never copped a ban.
Oh, how the hell have you managed that?
I've never been banned either.
I have no idea.
What?
I've
had a few. One I deserved, despite the fact that the person I called out deserved it because that was Christiosity, and she think about what I said to her was quite reprehensible. I don't remember what it was, but I remember thinking at the time, yeah, I probably deserved that one. I've had 3 that were stupid. One, I understand why it was an auto catch from Twitter and that it was dumb, but they didn't take into account context. But there was one I got, the first ban I ever got, I retweeted.
You retweeted what? You kind of broke up there. Jen? Did we lose Jen? I think we might have lost Jen.
I think we did lose Jen. Yeah. I know that OnScar was recently banned for saying retard on Twitter in the context of talking about flame retardant.
Right, he said that on In Time today. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He's talking about flame retardant and retarding chemical reactions. Which is the actual use of the word. It doesn't refer to people. It means to slow down or hinder. You retard timing on a car.
Yeah. I mean, that was even the original context in what it was used in a mental health sense. Is like, oh, somebody's learning was retarded. It was slowed down or it was dampened somehow. Like, it wasn't like, I don't think, meant to be nasty.
No,
You know?
no.
I mean, people keep banning words as though that's going to stop people from saying mean things. They'll just make new mean words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, now it's, what is the big one? Okay, boomer. everybody's doing that, apparently being offended by it. It's like, all right, I guess.
Well, that was weird.
What happened?
Oh, the computer decided it wasn't going to use my microphone anymore. I had to switch to the one in my webcam and back again.
Bizarre.
Yeah, shit happens occasionally.
Computers are goofy.
I've got an external USB hub that occasionally decides to reset itself, and when it does that, it trips some of my other USB stuff. So I probably should replace it. You know, one of those things you just go, yeah, I'll do that eventually.
I'm gonna make a picture and put it up on screen here so people know where to click.
The point I was getting to before was that I got a ban the other day for saying that we should exterminate all viruses. And they're posting a picture of a Dalek.
Why would that be a bad thing?
Apparently I was inciting hate speech. I was inciting violence.
Violence against viruses.
Yeah, apparently. The thread was
like
a discussion
a punk
about...
band.
The thread ended up a discussion about anti-vaxxers, so I'm assuming some anti-vaxxer reported it as though I was suggesting we should exterminate anti-vaxxers, which wasn't the point at all.
No.
Yes, and Twitter decided that was violence.
Oh gosh. Like
I'm
but the
yeah,
problem is all these latest and greatest have to be AI. It has to.
Oh, of course it is, because an actual person who'd read that thread would not have thought that.
And they, there's way more reports and crap than they can honestly deal with. It just
So even if you query it, and which can take up to a week, which is ridiculous. Even if you query it, they're only going to look at your tweet and not at the context because it'll take them too long. So they look at it and they go, "Oh, yeah, they said exterminate in it. Screw it, we'll leave it."
Okay, so
in that case, there's no more context than what there was when the bot did it.
Right. So to Ilya and Bridget, I have put on the stream the place where you need to click. It is on the left-hand side. And you might have to scroll because there's a lot of channels on my server. And it shows me, David, and Jen's in the chat here.
Yeah.
You have to click on the actual live stream capitals with the speaker next to it channel before you can talk. Talking to Discord without clicking on a voice channel is kind of like... it's not going to do anything. Yeah. Ilya should be joining shortly, I think, because they say they passed by there. You have to click it. Click it. Let me do another thing here. Just make a text that says click here. Alright, let's put that in. Yeah. I'm doing all this on the fly. Click here. That's how you join, folks. Aha! Bridget, can you hear us? Bridget? We can't hear you. You might have to tell Discord your settings, in which case you click the little gear next to your name at the bottom of the list and set your devices.
Oh, you got a microphone problem like I did.
Probably. Discord can be a little wonky at first for some people.
Yeah. I think it's time I actually got a mic that isn't a USB one. I actually got a little mixer desk because it works so much nicer.
Well, this little Scarlett 2i2 that I have actually works pretty darn good. It's the same one I got that... Ah, there's Ilya. Ilya, can you hear us?
Hi, Ilya.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes!
Yes, we can.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm really new to this community and Discord and everything.
Well,
All right,
welcome.
we've all been there.
Yes, we've all been new at some point. First time I saw Discord, I was like, okay, so there's a server, but then you can have private messages that don't have anything to do with the server. And if you saw my server list now, you'd be like, how does you keep track of all that? And the answer is, I really don't.
I gotcha. Yeah.
I only watch a couple servers. There's this one. There's one for the Great Debate community. I also admin Heath's server. I don't know if you know who Heath is. He does a lot of
Hey.
anti pseudoscience stuff, basically.
I'm still, I guess, navigating my way. Sorry, I have a real strong Southern accent.
That's fine.
But
All
I'm
right.
still navigating my way through and learning who everyone is. I actually found you guys because of my distaste for Katie from the
Oh, so
situation she
this
had
isn't
last
somebody
year.
I can persuade to vote for Kyle then.
Oh no, I've caught up. I've only been around listening to stuff for about 2 months, but I have caught up.
Oh.
And Kyle definitely deserves to be there too. But
Oh,
I'm still learning who everyone is because actually how I figured it out or found it was I started watching Reds because I'm really into astronomy. And I love his flat earth rebuttals. So that's actually where it didn't even start with me finding anybody because of Katie, but then I started noticing stuff about Katie when I subscribed to Reds.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, these are my people.
yeah.
Yeah, and Katie was like she's actually right when she says that we had a decent relationship at first. Like I was helping her stream. If you've seen the stream with Tati where she's talking about the sub counts on, I think it's Andrew's channel and Tati's channel, that was actually me doing that extended stream on her channel.
See, I've been a follower of Tati for a long time. And it goes beyond just, I know she's a beauty guru. I get it. That's not necessarily this community's for will. I understand it's apples and oranges, compare the two. But I absolutely love what she does. She gives back to the community. She is all organic and healthy with her supplements and makeup. And I am a girly girl. I love makeup, so I have her products, and I love them. And so when I saw Katie kind of attack her, I was like, why are you going after her? She's never done anything to anybody.
Right.
And then she started dragging up stuff about her husband, and it's like, what is she doing?
Yeah, I after the non sequitur show thing just went sideways with Kyle doing what Kyle did.
Yeah.
Katie came in, and if anybody hasn't seen the tweets, they're not hard to find. There's copies of them everywhere. Katie comes in and says it's all been figured out. Steve's been paid, it's been decided, etc., etc. And I was like, I was actually there in that meeting. That's not what happened. You're either purposefully lying, or I basically said you're lying. You're inserting yourself in a situation that has nothing to do with you, and you're lying. And that's the last I talked to her. She blocked me. After that, she blocked me. Her best friend at the time. So.
Well, it is what it is. I didn't necessarily come on to talk about that. I just...
Guess what, folks? My name is not Steve McCrae, and we are not going to talk about that shit here. We're going to talk about...
Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. Aside from, like, Kyle, let's not talk about it.
No, I just thought I would give the
No, that's
puzzle
fine.
pieces to what led me here. But no, I mean, I'm not a...
You're fine. You're
I'm not
fine.
one of those that's going to harp on something for hours on end. That's just not me. But...
No. And I get you.
Let's go back to something nice that you brought up, astronomy.
Astronomy.
Yeah.
Yes, because I love astronomy.
Well, that's where my name comes from. Ilia Moon is I love you always moon.
Oh,
And
cool.
Okay.
and it's a I don't know. I think it's because of memories I have with my grandfather. He would always take me out on full moons, and we would get out a telescope and look. So it's just kind of like a sentimental memory.
Mm-hmm.
And mixed with that, I love everything. I watch how the universe works, like, on repeat. I'm so interested in absorbing all of that, you know?
Do you watch a couple of the YouTubers who just cover science and astronomy stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so Anton Petrov from What the Math, and Dr. Becky, who is an astronomer in the UK.
I haven't followed Dr. Becky, but I've heard about Dr. So
You've heard about her? Have you seen Anton with What the
yes.
Math? Yes, he is amazing. I'll find Dr. Becky's link for you because she's
For
worth
sure.
watching. She really knows her stuff.
I love all that stuff. I just want to absorb it all. I suck at math, but I love science. So
Because she is
It is
actually
what
an
it is.
astrophysicist, and there's her channel. Okay.
but I keep hearing about this great bullinator, so I wanted to meet him.
So there you go. There's Dr. Becky's link.
Well,
Thank you.
I was the
No worries.
producer. I was the producer on the Non Sequitur show. I was approached in May of 2018 to produce and co-host a show with Telltale Atheist and Kyle, because Steve was off that day. And it was about, of course, Jehovah's Witnesses. I think Lloyd Evans was on there as well. And,
Yep, that's who it was on.
And I made the mistake, I use that term jokingly, of actually streaming in 1080p because I can. And before that, it had been Frankie and the Geek Room that had been producing the Non Sequitur show on YouTube. And Frankie, it's a good producer, but his internet sucks, and he can't get better internet where he lives. So Kyle's like, hey, do you want to do this full time? Frankie spread himself a little thin, so Frankie was okay with it. So I went ahead and took over and did almost 500 streams for that show, and have honed my skills quite a bit. Like this thing you see on screen right now, I threw that together in about 5 minutes. So yeah,
That's really awesome. I still don't know. I'm still learning. Like I said, I found Reds first, and it was just based on the flat Earth rebuttals to start with because I love that. I think it's awesome. And then after that, I found In Time with Nick Suter.
Oh, I
Hans
produced
Bar.
that show.
Yeah, that's David's show. We're
And
both.
I absolutely love them.
I was.
Oh, well.
I did ask you today if you used vMix for it.
If what? Well,
Did you use vMix to do it?
not yet. Although we're going to be switching over probably very shortly.
Okay, let me know when you do that, because I want to make sure that, because there's some contention on whether both seats of the license can stream at the same time. From what I remember, people said, yes, you can do that, that's fine. Team Skeptic and Fight the Flat Earth are telling me, yeah, they're just using Team's license. And they're both they're like literally hooking up via vCall and using both at the same time, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, is that on the... Are they on the same... Are they hooking together for the same show, or are they doing two separate streams?
No, they're hooking together for the same show. That's how, when Fight the Flat Earth says, can you put me full screen, he's literally merging to his vCall input, and then he does his own graphics.
Okay. I don't know if that's quite the same as doing two different shows simultaneously with the two seats.
That's true. It would be like a stream count versus a being in a vCall. We'd have to try that. See, that's what I want to do. Like before you go on live with that, because if that's going to be an issue, we might need to schedule streaming together at some point because we're using the same seat. Okay, Bridget, you're muted. You are not server muted, so you are self muted. So if you click the little microphone next to your name at the bottom there, it should unmute you.
Well, I just wanted to hop on and say hi and kind of just introduce myself.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be around here and there. I'm talking to Cheshire a whole lot. And
Cheshire's lovely despite having a fight with her.
I love Cheshire so far. She's going to create... I have Cushing's disease, and it's a disease that's not often or known much about. And I asked her to create me a graphic art piece of a moon with the Cushing's ribbon around it. So I've been working with her and talking with her to do that commission piece. But she is just so lovely, and I just feel... I mean, she knows my stance, that I didn't come in based on necessarily finding a skeptic community, you know, how I ended up here, but it just so happens I am a skeptic myself, so it kind of worked out. But it's very nice to meet you guys, and I will see you guys around.
Good to talk.
Bye.
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 Well, that's always good that people find. It's strange how people find the community. Like myself, and Spooky kind of remembers this too, I think. I actually ran into Steve McRae I think it was on Facebook. Way back when him and Bionic Dance first started going at it over the definition of atheism. What the fuck else would Steve go into it over? And yes, we all know Steve and his definition of atheism.
See, this is right. I'll let you finish, but then I'm gonna have a rant.
No, I was gonna say first of all, let me state categorically, Steve is right. Okay, if you're gonna argue with Steve, at least be willing to admit he's right on what he's saying about what atheism is in a philosophical sense. If you're not going to have a philosophical argument, tell him, I don't want a philosophical argument. Can I please use my definition for the purpose of this discussion? And he'll be fine with it. So just, don't make a big deal. Just tell him what your position actually fucking is. And that's all I personally care about myself.
Yeah, there's a point where continually arguing his philosophical point is pointless because we all know he's right. So, can we stop doing it?
Yeah, but we don't all know he's right, or at least some people seem to think that they think that he's not right.
Which, if you really want to go back, set the Wayback Machine to a few years ago when this whole issue started with him and the Great Debate community, it all started with videos about that between him and Nate Brody. Yep.
And it's still going to
it's still not. It has turned into a rift between two people that at one point I respected both very highly. And Nate, if you're listening to this, dude, I don't know what to make of you. Sometimes you pop up at the most coincidental times, but I personally think you and that group of people need to let the Great Debate community go. Like, you get, like, the whole G Plus group is gone anyway. It's a moot point. Move on with y'all's lives and make your own group and just
make another community.
Do something constructive instead of coming in after Steve all the fucking time, because right now it's a joke, and the only other person you've fixated on as much as Steve is G-Man, which is equally sad.
G-Man is just equally sad anyway.
G-Man is just sad.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. From a philosophical point, Steve's right, because you can't argue that away. That, I mean, I realize that, yeah, these words have definitions. It's like in anything. When you have preset definitions for certain things, you can't. But you can still apply your own definitions to them, but you need to define your point then. Define the point you're coming from. And once you do that, then, yeah, this whole argument should disappear as long as people are prepared to use the same definitions.
Exactly. And it's as long as you understand where the other person's coming from, I don't see what the... Like, move on from that perspective.
That's why I always try to define my position, because I always say, look, generally speaking, I'm an agnostic, but if you put up your proposal for what a god is, I will probably be an atheist towards that, because as soon as you start applying definitions, then I've got something to say, well, that's wrong.
Yeah. Like I'm definitely an atheist when it comes to the God of the Bible, Muhammad, etc., etc. All the Abrahamic religions, just no.
Yeah, but if you throw a deistic God at me, okay, there's no way I can say that that's not true, but you still can't prove that it is, so
right.
I'm agnostic.
Right.
And I know a lot of people say, well, that just means you're an agnostic atheist. Yeah. No.
Now,
I can have a different position on each proposition that you give me. So each God is its own proposition.
Bridget, you have... Are you there, Bridget? She was playing with the buttons.
Yeah, and David's volume's really gone weird because he was talking a second ago and we couldn't hear him.
What's that?
Yeah, your volume was going really weird.
Yeah,
your light was coming on like you were talking, but we couldn't actually hear you.
Oh, I'm just shooting things in VR at the moment.
So we're hearing the sound from your computer. Okay, that's okay.
That's what's happening. There we go.
That's all right. But yeah. So yeah, I'm a big believer in defining your definitions. I mean, we get so many arguments over what words mean, especially on Twitter, because Twitter is all fucking words. And with not a lot of nuance. So define your position. Say, this is why I believe this. And as long as you define your position well enough, people go, yeah, okay, that's fair. Define whether you're talking about a colloquial term or a scientific term. You know, I'm quite prepared for somebody to use the colloquial version of theory for something, as long as they say that's what they're doing, and then they don't try to equate that with the scientific version of the word.
Michael, how are you, sir?
Oh, not too bad. I've been on a mission of my own.
So yeah,
and what I predicted has come true.
What did you predict?
You're already starting to get complaints of people with their Ryzen 3000 CPUs degrading in performance.
Really?
Yep. Because AMD is too fucking stupid to read specs list put out by the people who actually make the node that they create the processors on. Well, they're either too stupid or for the sake of being able to claim certain megahertz numbers, they have to literally punt in voltage which they know will be destructive. It literally is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
It's kind of
it's a shame.
It's kind of like Apple's quote unquote magic keyboard. Did you hear about that little snafu?
Oh yeah, the butterfly keyboard. Yeah.
The butterfly.
What about Apple's cooling system?
What?
Oh god.
Let me qualify.
I did air quotes there. Nobody could see it, but I did fucking air quotes.
I was gonna ask you, quite sarcastically, what fucking cooling system?
Hang on. Oh no. It's not just that. Their so-called cooling system, for the Mac Pros, the AIO, the all-in-one computers they have, the cooling system actually blows dust behind the monitor screen.
Yeah.
Where you literally cannot clean it unless you take the whole fucking screen apart.
But you're not allowed to take Apple's things apart because of their warranty, which I had to air quote again.
Yeah, like draw circle, bang head.
If you
it's
want,
such a shame.
If you, to everybody out there listening who likes Macintoshes, I would agree that Mac OS X is actually quite a beautiful operating system. However, other hardware will run it. You do not need to spend your money on Apple that is going to break and going to cost you an arm and a leg just to get fixed, even under warranty. Sweet P69, hello, how are you? If you want, you can come in and chat with us.
In all honesty, why get a Mac in the first place?
Because you like OS X. Literally, that's the only reason. Like I said, it's a beautiful operating system.
It's not a surprise because OS X was basically stolen from Free and NetBSD, and the GUI was stolen from GNOME. So,
Right, like you could literally get almost the same interface with Ubuntu for free. So I'm not saying that it's better than anything. It's just some people like it, and it is. Let's face it, it does have a lot of.
And you pay a premium for that bullshit. I used to work for Apple. Apple's crap.
And the thing is like, it's so disappointing because back in the day, like I said, when we were talking about our first machines, the Apple II Plus, that was a hacker's delight. It was
Wozniak though.
Wozniak, yeah. But once Wozniak left, the whole company became a different beast completely.
Well, because Steve Jobs was a profit-driven maniac.
And so is every CEO that's been there since then too.
Well, Microsoft's no better, I must admit. But,
no,
no, not really. But Apple is what Kyle tried to make the non sequitur show, and that is an exercise, and that's an exercise of form over substance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with you on that. Yeah, it's
about the best analogy I can bring, lads.
Well,
it's shocking.
It is almost 8 o'clock. I started this at 6:30, so we're gonna go about 10 more minutes here. I'm gonna go take a bathroom break.
With your long chat, Bill.
Well, I'll leave the chat up. We can keep talking in here. It just won't be streaming, or we could move this whole thing up to the general chat, which is probably the better idea because somebody else might actually want to stream, like that ever happens, from this machine. So,
well, other people can stream from your machine.
From my server. People, yeah.
By the way, people,
it's a virtual machine. That's how Discord does it.
Yeah, I'm getting my 3950 at the end of the month.
Nice.
I am still running. I'm still running a 2600K on my rendering rig.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've got an i7 4790K, which is my, my main machine at the moment, and I'm not upgrading because I need to. I'm basically upgrading because I want to. So
Well,
I'm
This
not
rendering rig
disparaging.
is the 2600K with a 780 Ti in it.
Yeah.
It's old, but it does
I
the
mean,
job.
yeah, I love it. I love it when these morons kind of like try to suggest, "Oh, you can't do rendering because your CPU." Yeah, you can. It just takes a bit longer.
Yeah, that's right. It just takes a little bit longer. And
and then there's
I've got to pull it all out and put it in a new case because this machine doesn't even have an SSD in it at the moment. That's how old this one is, and yeah, that needs fixing. So, and I'm putting it in a new case with a new cooler because at the moment this has got a stock cooler on it, so I can't overclock it, and it's K, and that seems a bit of a shame.
By the way,
Sweet
do
Hey,
you know what
CP,
Stephen Fry said when he went over to Australia?
what did he say?
Well, he was stopped at immigration, and the immigration officer said to Stephen Fry, have you got a criminal? Have you now or ever had a criminal record?" And Stephen Fry turned around and said, "Why is it still obligatory?"
Oh, joke. Sometimes the oldies are the best.
I know. Well, I'd never heard it before. Before I'd heard it from Stephen Fry.
So, Michael, where are you from? Is that Scottish accent, isn't it?
Well, I'll put it to you this way: my boss used to call me the Kraut Jock bastard.
Yeah.
I'm actually German.
Oh, you're German.
Yeah, but I grew up when I was a kid in Scotland, so I got both
Hence
languages
the Scottish
basically.
accent.
Yeah. So I got the worst of two cultures.
now we need.
Oh my God!
Now
You're
we
German
need-
and Scottish. How bad? How much do you drink?
He
Well,
is the reason that Guinness is still in business. Let's put it that way.
No, not Guinness for Scottish.
Among other breweries.
I only said that to fuck with him. So
No. Scotch. Bit of Scotch.
Okay, all right. What is
Sorry.
the difference? What is the difference between Scotch whiskey and all other whiskies in the world?
I used to know this. Can't remember.
The E in the word. All other whiskies in the world are spelt with EY at the end. Scotch is the only one that's spelled with Y at the end.
Isn't there a brewing difference though? Between.
Well, personally, I prefer my personal favourite is Famous Grouse, which is a blended whiskey.
I've not drunk that.
I much prefer it to the because I find the malt whiskies
Sweet Pea.
they're a bit too rough.
Hold on,
Too
Michael.
rough, yeah.
Let's say hi to Sweet.
Sweet.
So we got some new people here. It's been a long year and Sweet Pea 69. How are you two?
I'm fine, and most people know me
By you kind of cut out to know you by what?
Yeah, you cut out.
Sadie.
Sadie?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Are you Sadie Marie?
yes.
Oh,
Hi.
Oh, cool.
Hi.
So nice to meet you.
Nice.
and it's been a long year. You're muted. I don't know if you know that.
Hi.
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 Sorry, my mic is shit, so it goes in and out.
That's fine. And I
It's
hate.
been a day for audio problems, hasn't it?
Oh, it's always a day for audio problems.
It's called
I don't
Murphy's
think
Law.
I've ever been in a stream that hasn't had problems.
Yeah,
Well, it's called Murphy's Law.
it's the bane of the streamer's existence. Though, like if you live stream, it is a pain in the ass with audio.
Even when you pre-render, there's always something you fuck up. You know, you can be as pedantic as you like about things, and there'll be some fuck up, and then occasionally you'll just go, "Oh, screw it, that's done render upload," and it's fine. And it's like, what the fuck?
There are two universal rules. One of them is Murphy's Law. If you're streaming, the sound will fuck up. And the other universal rule is called Hanlon's razor. And that's never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity.
Oh, that one comes up all the fucking time, that one.
If you live by those two rules, you're basically sorted.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Nice.
Let's face it. We were talking about Twitter fights earlier. 90% of Twitter fights are down to stupidity. There's no malice.
Yeah. And misunderstanding. There is a
that's
misunderstanding.
stupidity. Because generally speaking, when we type out something in Twitter, no one proofreads over their Twitter. That's why I end up with so many typos in mine.
Yeah.
And you can send something, you go, then somebody says something back to you, you go back and read what you actually sent, you go, oh, fuck, I've screwed that right up, didn't I?
Well, the best one, if you want to get back at somebody and you just want to sit back and eat popcorn while they call you all the names under the sun, is just type back to them, excuse me, you do realize that spell checking doesn't just mean moving your lips when you read?
Right.
Just sit back. They will go nuts. They will go crackers. You can enjoy yourself. You're going to be treated to half an hour's worth of faggot.
It is about 8 o'clock here, so I'm gonna go ahead and
giving shit in Twitter for being drunk on a stream.
I'm gonna go ahead and shut the stream down here. I thank everyone for joining me. The conversation will continue on my server. I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the chat. It's also in the video description one more time, and I will be signing off.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.